High above us, the skies hum with an enigma that has seized the imaginations of millions. Day after day, they appear, long, white streaks stretching across the heavens, trailing behind high-flying aircraft. To the untrained eye, they seem innocuous, a fleeting byproduct of jet engines. But to others, these trails represent something far darker, a coded warning, a veiled operation, or perhaps the biggest secret of our time. Unlike ordinary contrails that vanish within moments, these mysterious streaks linger, spreading slowly into vast hazy veils that shroud the sky like an unseen hand at work. Are these so-called chemtrails proof of an elaborate chemical dispersal program operating right before our eyes? If so, who is behind it? And what are they trying to achieve? Theories range from the extraordinary to the terrifying. Could these trails be part of a covert global effort to control the weather? A geoengineering experiment so audacious it could reshape entire ecosystems? Or is the truth even more insidious? Could these chemical dispersals be tampering with our minds, our bodies, and even our future as a species? And why now? Over the past 3 decades, sightings of these persistent patterns have exploded. From crisscross designs to checkerboard grids, the sky has become a canvas for something deliberate. Reports of unusual illnesses, unexplained environmental shifts, and mounting evidence of metallic particles in the atmosphere have raised a chilling question. Are we witnessing an unspoken war for control, waged above us in plain sight? Tonight, we delve deep into the heart of this global mystery. From startling military documents to eerie connections with secretive programs, the evidence tells a story that challenges everything we think we know. Could these trails be part of a plan so vast, so meticulously orchestrated that it escapes comprehension? The truth is out there, cloaked in clouds and drifting on the winds. But will we uncover it in time, or is it already too late? If you think you've seen everything, buckle up. This is just the beginning. The late 1990s marked a turning point in humanity's relationship with the skies. Across the globe, people began to notice something unusual. Patterns of long, persistent trails forming grids and crisscrossing designs high above, lingering far longer than conventional contrails. These strange formations, many claimed, could not be explained as mere vapor trails. Was this evidence of a new phenomenon or the unveiling of an invisible agenda? Questions soon arose. Why were these trails behaving differently? Was it just unusual weather conditions or something more calculated? Suspicion grew, and with it, the birth of what we now call the chemtrail theory. But the movement gained momentum from an unexpected source, a 1996 U.S. Air Force report titled "Weather as a Force Multiplier: Owning the Weather in 2025. The report outlined how weather modification could become a powerful tool of warfare, capable of disrupting enemy operations or altering environmental conditions to achieve strategic objectives. Could these persistent trails be a step toward making such a vision a reality? Adding to the intrigue was the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, or HAARP, a facility ostensibly designed to study the ionosphere. Yet HAARP's powerful antennas sparked speculation of more nefarious purposes: weather control, electromagnetic mind manipulation, and even global surveillance. Were chemtrails connected to this enigmatic program, amplifying its reach and capabilities? As the questions mounted, a few courageous voices brought these concerns to the public. In 1999, Art Bell, the legendary radio host of Coast to Coast AM, invited experts and theorists to discuss what they believed were covert atmospheric experiments. Bell's broadcasts awakened a new wave of curiosity, igniting a broader audience to ask, what are they spraying in our skies? One of the most prominent voices to emerge was Clifford Carnicom, an independent researcher whose atmospheric experiments revealed alarming findings. Metallic particles, crystalline substances, and strange fibers, elements not typically found in natural atmospheric conditions, pointed to deliberate chemical dispersals. His 2005 documentary, Aerosol Crimes, exposed these discoveries to the world, inspiring others to take up the cause. Was it coincidence that these trails began to appear as humanity's technological reach extended into the upper atmosphere? Or were they the earliest signs of an era defined by secret experimentation and manipulation of the natural world? As the story unfolds, we must ask, are chemtrails a modern conspiracy, or the latest chapter in humanity's age-old quest to control the forces of nature? If chemtrails are more than just condensation in the atmosphere, then the question becomes, why? What purpose could these chemical dispersals serve? To answer that, we must delve into the murky waters of geoengineering, psychological manipulation, and a web of interlocking agendas that challenge everything we know about the skies above. One of the most prominent theories revolves around weather modification. For decades, geoengineering techniques like cloud seeding, using silver iodide to encourage rainfall, have been openly acknowledged. But what if the scope of these programs extends far beyond inducing localized precipitation? Some believe chemtrails are part of a vast, covert effort to manipulate global weather patterns. From mitigating the effects of climate change to weaponizing hurricanes, the possibilities are as staggering as they are alarming. Could the very systems that sustain life on Earth be subject to a hidden tug-of-war between nations, corporations, or even militaries seeking an edge in an increasingly unstable world? Indeed, military applications are often cited as a potential motive. The ability to disrupt an enemy's infrastructure by creating droughts, flooding strategic areas, or cloaking operations under perpetual cloud cover could provide unparalleled advantages in modern warfare. Is it possible that the skies have become the newest battlefield? But beyond the manipulation of weather lies something even more troubling: the manipulation of human beings themselves. Some theorists argue that chemtrails serve to suppress human consciousness, keeping populations subdued and disconnected from their spiritual potential. Could the chemicals dispersed into the air be dulling our minds, reducing our ability to question, resist, or rise above? Health concerns only add to the suspicion. Reports of respiratory illnesses, autoimmune disorders, and the bizarre condition known as Morgellons syndrome, characterized by strange fibers growing under the skin, have all been linked to alleged chemtrail activity. Are these just coincidences, or evidence of an agenda targeting human biology? Then there's the question of electromagnetic fields. Metallic particles, such as aluminum and barium, are often mentioned in chemtrail analyses. These materials, once in the atmosphere, could hypothetically interact with electromagnetic fields, creating a vast, invisible network of influence. Could these particles be designed to alter behavior, disrupt thought patterns, or even target specific populations? If so, who controls this network, and to what end? Finally, some believe the truth lies not in a single purpose, but in a multifaceted agenda, altering soil chemistry to favor genetically modified crops, reducing global fertility rates to control population growth, or even preparing the atmosphere for advanced holographic technologies. Each of these motives suggests a level of foresight and coordination that defies comprehension. Could chemtrails be part of a grand design, a convergence of efforts to reshape our world in ways most of us cannot yet fathom? Or are they simply the byproduct of a new frontier in science, misunderstood and mistrusted? Whatever the answer, the skies may be telling a story, one that demands we look up and dig deeper. In the world of covert agendas and global manipulation, few theories are as audacious as Project Bluebeam. First proposed in the 1990s by Canadian investigative journalist Serge Monast, this chilling hypothesis outlines a multi-stage plan to usher in a new world order. Its premise: to exploit humanity's deepest beliefs, fears, and vulnerabilities to forge a unified DAS authoritarian global government. And at the heart of this alleged plan lies a critical enabler: chemtrails. Could these persistent trails in the sky be far more than atmospheric phenomena? Could they be the scaffolding of humanity's greatest deception? According to Monist, the first stage of Project Bluebeam involves undermining humanity's religious beliefs. The theory posits that fabricated archaeological discoveries, planted perhaps by shadowy elites, will reveal information that challenges long-standing dogmas. Ancient texts, forged artifacts, or fabricated digital reconstructions could be used to invalidate sacred teachings and erode faith, setting the stage for a world untethered from traditional spiritual foundations. In this context, chemtrails may play a subtler role. The particles allegedly dispersed into the atmosphere are thought to weaken the immune system, disrupt cognitive function, and dull critical thinking. A weakened populace may be less inclined to question these discoveries or resist their implications. The second stage brings the skies themselves into play. Advanced holographic technology would project massive, awe-inspiring images of religious figures into the atmosphere. These holograms would appear to believers worldwide, depicting messianic beings descending from the heavens, uniting all faiths under a single fabricated deity. But to achieve such a feat on a global scale, the atmosphere itself would need to be engineered, transformed into a perfect medium for these illusions. Here, chemtrails take center stage. The metallic particles often linked to chemtrail dispersals, aluminum, barium, and strontium, have reflective properties that could enhance holographic displays. Spread across the upper atmosphere, these materials may serve as a vast projection screen, ensuring that holograms appear vivid and three-dimensional from any angle. The resulting spectacles would be so convincing that they could erase the divisions between faiths, creating the illusion of a supernatural event beyond question. But this manipulation of perception does not stop at what people see. The third stage of Project Bluebeam takes aim directly at the human mind. By using voice-to-skull technology, theorists suggest that electromagnetic frequencies could transmit divine messages directly into individuals' thoughts. These messages, tailored to each person's beliefs, would reinforce the illusion of a singular deity calling for unity under a new world faith. Once again, chemtrails play a crucial role. The metallic particles dispersed into the air could act as conductors, enhancing the effectiveness of these electromagnetic frequencies. Moreover, long-term exposure to these chemicals is said to have a dumbing down effect on the population, reducing their ability to think critically or resist manipulation. Combined with potential reproductive impacts, another alleged consequence of chemtrail exposure, the population may not only become more pliable, but also face a diminished capacity for renewal and resistance. In this scenario, humanity would be left vulnerable, dependent, and ripe for control. The final stage of Project Bluebeam culminates in global chaos. Monist described a series of staged, false flag events designed to instill fear and submission. Among these could be simulated alien invasions or apocalyptic catastrophes, amplified by holograms and atmospheric manipulation. The goal: to create such overwhelming panic that the masses would willingly accept the authority of a centralized, global government promising safety. In this stage, the dual effects of chemtrails become clear. On one level, the particles seeded in the atmosphere could create the optical conditions necessary for these illusions. On another, their psychological and physiological impacts, such as increased docility, reduced fertility, and impaired health, ensure that resistance to this new regime would be minimal. A weakened, manipulated populace would not only believe the deception, but also lack the strength to fight back. Could this convergence of technology and manipulation truly be underway? The chemtrails crisscrossing our skies may serve as more than just the backdrop to this audacious plan. They may be the very infrastructure that makes it possible. Are we witnessing the preparation for an era where even our perceptions are no longer our own? Or is this theory just another layer in the fog of confusion that surrounds us? As we search for answers, the skies above grow ever more enigmatic, hinting at secrets that may one day redefine what it means to be human. Could chemtrails be the first faint brushstrokes of a larger design, one that spans not just the heavens, but the very fabric of our existence? As the debate over chemtrails intensifies, two starkly different narratives dominate the conversation. On one side are the skeptics, who dismiss the entire phenomenon as a misunderstanding of basic science. On the other are the believers, who see the trails as evidence of a covert operation with profound implications for humanity. These conflicting perspectives highlight the complexity and the stakes of understanding what's really happening above us. Skeptics argue that the science behind contrails is well understood and entirely mundane. According to agencies such as the EPA, FAA, and NOAA, contrails form when hot jet exhaust mixes with the cold, dark, moist air of the upper atmosphere. The resulting ice crystals create the streaks we see in the sky. Depending on atmospheric conditions, these contrails may dissipate quickly or linger for hours, spreading out into wispy clouds. For skeptics, there's nothing extraordinary about these phenomena. They are simply the byproducts of modern aviation. But science alone doesn't quell the suspicions of believers. They point out that the trails seen today often behave differently than those of the past, lingering longer and forming dense, hazy patterns. They argue that official explanations conveniently ignore growing anecdotal evidence of strange substances being found in soil and water samples near heavy chemtrail activity. Metallic particles, fibers, and even reports of crystalline formations fuel their belief that these trails are anything but natural. Skeptics counter these claims with appeals to logic. If chemtrails were indeed a global operation, they argue, it would require the coordinated participation of thousands, perhaps millions, of individuals across governments, airlines, and industries. How could such a vast conspiracy remain hidden in an era of whistleblowers and leaks? Yet believers argue that this question is naive, pointing to the increasing role of tech companies in shaping public discourse. They allege a systematic suppression of information, with social media platforms and search engines downranking chemtrail content or labeling it as misinformation. They view this as proof of a concerted effort to keep the public in the dark. For believers, chemtrails represent more than just environmental tampering. They signify a dangerous overreach of technological power. They see these trails as tools of control, enabling a shadowy agenda to manipulate weather, mines, and even the global population itself. Reports of health impacts, including respiratory illnesses, autoimmune disorders, and the bizarre Morgellons syndrome, are cited as evidence of a program with little regard for human well-being. But the implications extend far beyond health. Believers argue that chemtrails are part of a larger strategy to consolidate power on a global scale. From altering soil composition to favor genetically modified crops to reducing fertility and stifling resistance through chemical exposure, the alleged goals are as wide-ranging as they are alarming. For many, chemtrails are not an isolated phenomenon, but a key component in a multi-layered agenda of control. Despite the skeptics' reassurances, the warnings from believers cannot be ignored. Whether or not chemtrails exist as theorized, the concerns they raise about unchecked technological power, health risks, and the erosion of public trust are deeply relevant in an increasingly interconnected and secretive world. Perhaps the greater question is not whether chemtrails exist, but how the balance between technological progress and human freedom can be maintained. The skies above, whether natural or manipulated, remind us of our fragile place in a world where power and knowledge are so often hidden in plain sight. Werner von Braun, a towering figure in modern science and the architect of NASA's Apollo program, may have carried secrets that point to a darker agenda. According to Dr. Carol Rosen, who worked closely with him during his later years, Von Braun issued a dire warning, a sequence of staged global threats designed to manipulate humanity and justify the militarization of space. Rosin claimed that von Braun outlined a chilling progression of fabricated crises. First, humanity would be warned of rogue nations wielding dangerous weapons. Next, the threat of global terrorism would dominate the narrative. Following that, the danger would shift to natural disasters, such as asteroid impacts, seemingly beyond human control. But the final stage, von Braun allegedly said, would be the most insidious. A hoax alien invasion. Imagine the fear that such a scenario could provoke. Gigantic spacecraft appearing in the sky, devastating attacks, and even supposed messages from extraterrestrial beings, all orchestrated to terrify humanity into submission. The ultimate goal, a centralized global authority under the guise of protecting humanity from an otherworldly threat. This alleged warning aligns eerily with Project Bluebeam, the theorized stages of Bluebeam, including the use of holographic projections and electromagnetic technologies to manipulate perception, mirror the same tactics described by von Braun. Both suggest a calculated use of fear and illusion to bring about global control. Chemtrails, some argue, are a critical part of this framework. By dispersing reflective metallic particles into the atmosphere, chemtrails could create the perfect medium for holographic displays of alien ships or celestial phenomena. These particles, often said to contain aluminum and barium, might also enhance electromagnetic frequencies used for psychological manipulation, convincing even the most skeptical minds that what they see and hear is real. The implications go deeper. Long-term exposure to these chemicals may already be weakening humanity, dulling critical thinking, fostering compliance, and even reducing reproductive rates. By the time a staged alien invasion begins, populations could be too physically and mentally compromised to resist. A species desperate for protection might willingly surrender its freedom, believing the alternative is extinction. Yet, critics argue there is no hard evidence to confirm von Braun's warnings. His statements, as reported by Rosin, lack corroboration from other sources. Similarly, the ties between chemtrails, Project Bluebeam, and a fabricated extraterrestrial threat remain speculative. But even without definitive proof, the mere possibility raises profound questions about the lengths to which those in power might go. Are chemtrails just a coincidence, a byproduct of modern aviation, or are they the foundation of a far-reaching plan? A plan to weaponize the skies, manipulate reality, and lead humanity toward a future where fear governs all. Von Braun's alleged warning may serve not only as a glimpse into hidden agendas, but as a call to vigilance against the deceptions that could one day come from above. What if the trails we see in the skies are not just clouds of vapor, but messages, whispers of a hidden agenda shaping our world from the shadows? Tonight, we've pulled back the veil on chemtrails, Project Bluebeam, and the chilling connections that may link them to a larger global conspiracy. And yet, this is only the beginning. The battle for truth has never been more urgent. The forces above us, both literal and metaphorical, are counting on our silence, our ignorance, and our willingness to look away. But ask yourself, do you trust the explanations you've been given? Or is there a deeper truth waiting to be uncovered? The skies hold secrets that could change everything. But unlocking those secrets depends on all of us, watching, questioning, and sharing what we know. So, we're calling on you, the brave seekers of truth. Tell us, have you ever witnessed something strange in the skies? Felt that something was off, but couldn't explain why? Drop a comment below with your personal experiences, your theories, or your thoughts on what we've uncovered tonight. Your voice matters. And if you feel this pulse of curiosity, this drive to know more, then join us. Like this video, hit that subscribe button for Oblivion X, because we are just scratching the surface. The secret chiefs of our order have downloads you won't find anywhere else. Insights, revelations, and connections that could blow the lid off the biggest cover-ups in human history. This isn't just entertainment, it's a movement. The truth is out there, but it needs you to fight for it. So stand with us, stay vigilant, and keep your eyes on the skies, because if you think this was wild, trust us, we're only getting started. Stay curious, stay strong, and stay ready.